Hello and welcome to this Car Pod.
I'm Kenan.
I'm Filippo.
And let's start with the news, beginning with Aston Martin and Apple CarPlay Ultra. So this is like regular Apple CarPlay, but it's Ultra. Do you understand, Filippo?
Ultra good?
Apparently, they're rolling out a new Apple CarPlay in Aston Martin models, and it has more functionality. It's finally going to come to the gauge cluster, which Apple CarPlay has been sorely missing for a long time. And also, it's incorporating other things. I watched this demo, and it incorporates climate control, which I don't really know that I'm into, to be perfectly honest.
No.
As a guy who's defended screens for a long time, I think that might be even too far for me, because the last thing I need is to go into CarPlay and then slide over on the app screen next to Spotify to find the air conditioner.
Right. Knobs, man, knobs.
Or at least a separate section for climate controls. But anyway, it's rolling out in Aston Martin models. Do we have any thoughts about this?
Well, I have a thought. I'm sure it will be great. I'm sure the integration into various vehicles will be wonderful. Why did they start with Aston Martin? Of all manufacturers that they could launch with, they chose an obscure British sports car and luxury car manufacturer.
Filippo just told me that it's because Aston Martin and Porsche have some sort of early deal with them. They probably paid him a lot of money.
Well, I mean, that's great, but how did Aston, what were they doing? Starting alphabetically or something? Like, I just don't, it's just a weird choice.
No, because then they would have started with Acura.
Good point.
Aston, I presume they chose Aston and Porsche because rich people and iPhones are inextricably linked.
Oh, interesting. I suspect that Aston was willing to do anything for any publicity story, period. The reality is that, so I'm really excited about this because one real limitation of Apple CarPlay, especially if you have a modern car, is that you can't do it any in the gauge cluster. And a lot of modern cars have like navigation in the gauge cluster.
Yeah.
And it shows this, and like often now in CarPlay, you can show what's playing in your gauge cluster, but you can't use the other features. And it's exciting that you can now actually use Apple CarPlay for your full experience. You can use Google Maps. You don't need to use Google Maps and Mercedes MBUX navigation. You can just do one.
Isn't it kind of crazy that like pretty soon, presuming this trend continues, which has been very successful, like the car will basically just come with like the screen will be for settings.
Yep.
Right? And like basically everybody will just use their phone for all of the vehicle things for both the gauge cluster and the infotainment screen. Like that's already basically how it is for the infotainment screen. Like my Toyota has very limited functionality until you use CarPlay.
What'll be interesting is a few manufacturers, Tesla most notably, but Rivian also, and GM as a whole, have said that they're not using Apple CarPlay. They're not going to offer Android Auto, which is the Android version of it, because they think they can build a better experience. The subtext there is that they actually just want all the data of your usage of everything in the car. So I think the big tension will be, do you want to allow a third party, Apple, Google, whoever, to take that over and you then lose a bunch of data about your customers, a bunch of access?
I don't know how much tension there's been. I think that...
much. Legitimately, there's a reason that GM, one of the largest manufacturers of cars, doesn't offer it anymore.
Yeah, but people overwhelmingly adore this feature.
Everybody wants it. It's my wife's only requirement when thinking about a car.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Yeah. So
I think that people routinely choose convenience over privacy, and they'll continue to do that.
Well, the point is that the automaker wants the data. They want to be able to sell the data.
Don't you think there's also a component where the automaker doesn't want to either have to pay Apple or get in bed with Apple or all that? I mean, GM feels like they can do it and just do it all in-house, and they don't have to do this stupid thing with Apple.
And there's more controllability there, right? Like there's a lot more that you can do when you control all of it. If you are a talented tech company. And giving up to Apple is it.
You don't have to bend your designs to, because ultimately, like if they're integrating climate control, does that mean that like that'll only really function on cars that don't have a separate climate control screen? Or do you then have to make your climate control like functionality and buttons work with Apple CarPlay? Like we're going to have to see that as these cars roll out with this feature.
It's also a lot of work and requires a lot of computing power.
Thinking about it from a second owner, third owner perspective, though, is kind of interesting. It's like, how's the functionality of that going to age?
Good.
Like,
well,
I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah, but it's like, but eventually, like, at certain points, I think it will become like the car will become completely unusable because the interface can no longer interface with your new phone that's in your pocket.
Oh, sure.
Or if we go away from phones altogether, that's kind of a pie in the sky thing. But like,
does your car interface with your phone, Kenan?
Yes, it does.
Only because you added the Bluetooth,
the Blue Bus. That's right.
So
yes.
you've had to retrofit to make it possible. That might be true.
I didn't cut a single wire. It does plug in. It's true.
Well, your point is that it's probably going to be retrofittable in this new thing, and I think that's probably true. Plus, if it's really just app based, it should just kind of work okay. But I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm excited for it though. Legitimately, like incredibly excited.
Ultra.
This episode is brought to you by Ava. Cars and good credit score go hand in hand. Having good credit can be the difference between being able to afford the car your enthusiast heart desires or not, which is where Ava comes in, helping you build credit fast. Ava is a credit building app that makes it super simple to improve your credit fast, so you can get better rates on loans, pay off debt faster, and keep more money in your pocket. Instead of waiting months for a secured card, Ava is instantaneous. It's simple, affordable, and it really works. Most members see their credit go up in less than a week. Hello, F40. Ava reports your on-time payments to all major credit bureaus every day to help you build positive credit history quickly. The longer you stick with Ava, the higher your score can go. Joining Ava gives you access to all of Ava's credit building tools, starting at just $6 per month. There's no credit check, no interest, and no fees. Ava is the highest rated credit building app with thousands of 5-star reviews. It's the only credit building app rated excellent on Trustpilot and an A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't let your credit hold you back another day. Grow your credit score fast with Ava. Download the Ava app, spelled AVA, today. And when you join using my promo code CARPOD, you'll get your first month free. This offer is only for my listeners. Get the Ava app and use promo code CARPOD, CARPOD, to get your first month free. That's promo code CARPOD. Thanks to Ava, and now go get yourself good credit.